For many people, owning an RV is not just about having a vehicle. It is freedom, adventure, and the dream of escaping a stifling life. But in recent years, that RV dream has ended with water leaking from the ceiling, a broken frame, electrical system short circuits, and long months of waiting for repairs. Some people use the RV for 2 months out of 3 years. Some people spend $30,000 on repairs outside of warranty. And the scariest part? Most of these problems stem from the production line itself. Many people still believe they are choosing between dozens of brands. The truth is, they are only choosing between a few profit-maximizing corporations. In this video, we will delve into the factory truth to understand why many people believe that 90% of new RVs today are not built to last, but built to sell quickly. Prepare yourself, because what you are about to hear might change the way you view this industry forever. Step into an RV park, and you'll see dozens of brands lined up like a colorful festival. Each logo has its own style. Each car model is a promise. But when you take a step back and look through the lens of data, the picture starts to change. The truth is, 2 major corporations control about 75% of the travel trailer market. In other words, for every 4 RVs you see on the road, 3 belong to the same family business. What does this mean? You think you are comparing 6 different companies. In reality, you might just be choosing between 6 branches of the same corporation. That's what the financial world calls the illusion of competition. Imagine a supermarket with 10 different milk labels, but all produced by the same factory behind the scenes. The packaging changes, the price changes, the advertising message changes, but the production line, materials, and manufacturing strategy remain the same. And then, when the market focuses on a few big players, what happens next? In a truly competitive environment, quality is the weapon. But when most of the market share is in the hands of a few corporations, the competitive pressure is no longer as intense as before. The focus can shift from outperforming competitors to getting products out faster than competitors. And this is the key point. Production is increasing. Growth rate. But can quality keep up? In the years when RV demand exploded, the production line had to run faster than ever. When speed becomes a priority, every minute on the line is money. Each additional inspection step is a cost. From a business perspective, this may make sense. But from the buyer's perspective, it raises a thought-provoking question. When 75% of the market is in the hands of a few corporations, who is really under pressure to do better? Some people call this the logo game. Some others say they feel like they are choosing between different versions of the same product. And you? What do you think? Does the concentrated market structure affect product quality? Or is the issue somewhere else? In the next section, we will leave the corporate boardroom and delve deeper into the official figures, recall data and safety alerts, where the picture begins to become clearer than ever. If advertising tells a story with emotion, then recall data tells a story with cold, hard facts. We start with the official numbers from the Traffic Safety Agency. Not a rumor, not a comment on the internet. It's a public record. In the past year, a major manufacturer has recalled over 200,000 RVs. Imagine, 200,000 units, equivalent to the capacity of nearly 3 large stadiums combined. And what's even more noteworthy, nearly half of the recalls have been identified as stemming from errors in the manufacturing process, not external components, not a rare accident, but rather mistakes that occur right in the factory. Among them, there was a recall of up to 41,000 vehicles related to a wiring system at risk of overheating. 41,000, equivalent to the population of a small town. Stop for a second. This is not about peeling decals or squeaky hinges. These are mistakes that can directly affect the safety of the people inside. And the story doesn't stop at just one name. Another major corporation had to recall because the sliding system might not secure properly while the vehicle is in motion. Another group had to recall because the exhaust system might not function as originally designed, posing a risk of gas accumulation in the vehicle cabin. Each recall is a record, but when strung together, it becomes a trend. The question is no longer whether there is a mistake or not, but what does the frequency of this error say about quality control? In the world of manufacturing, recalls are not uncommon. The automotive industry has it too. But the difference lies in the scale and nature of the issue. When a significant portion comes from internal assembly errors, it indicates that the final stage, which should be the most thoroughly inspected, is under some pressure. Time pressure, cost pressure, or the pressure to meet the sudden surge in market demand. And this is a deeper issue from the user community. They are not just disappointed, they feel uneasy. Because when a product representing freedom of movement appears on the safety recall list, trust is shaken. What do you think? Is this just a consequence of a production acceleration phase? Or is it a sign of a long-term structural issue? In the next part, we will delve deeper, moving away from government data and stepping inside the production line, where small daily decisions can make a significant difference in quality. And if you're interested in straightforward, data-driven analyses like this, you might consider following the channel so you don't miss the next investigative segments. If the retrieved data is the tip of the iceberg, then the production line is where the ice forms. Imagine a factory where each RV has only a few days, even just a few dozen hours, to be completed from the frame to the interior. Every minute that passes has a cost. Each additional step of verification incurs an increased cost. And in that environment, speed becomes a priority. From the accounts of technicians and those who have worked in the industry, the picture that emerges is not like the advertisements. Many interior details are fixed with pins instead of solid structures. Some frame welds are deemed to lack the necessary finish. The wiring system is sometimes installed in tight spaces, where a hasty operation can create future risks. Materials are chosen with cost optimization as the primary criterion. A technician with over 40 years of experience candidly remarked, "The quality of finishing today is not as consistent as before." The question is, why? In the period of strong RV demand, production must increase accordingly. When a production line originally designed for 10 units per day now has to handle 15-18 units, the pressure is not only on the workers, but on the entire system. In production, there is a simple principle. Faster often means less time for inspection. Imagine you're assembling a house in 48 hours instead of 5 days. Each small mistake may not become apparent immediately, but after a few months of shaking on the road, the weaknesses start to appear. This is not an individual story. This is the consequence of a model optimized for speed and cost. And when the market is dominated by a few large corporations, the main pressure may not be to make the best RV, but to get the next RV off the assembly line. What do you think? If you were running a factory with hundreds of orders waiting to be delivered, what would you prioritize? Speed or perfection? In the next section, we will look at the business model behind all of this, where many believe that the buyer inadvertently becomes the final inspection department. And if you want to continue following the journey of peeling back the layers of this industry, you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next analyses. If the production line is where mistakes can begin, then the business model is where those mistakes are absorbed. Look at the cash flow. In many cases, the dealer's biggest profit does not come from selling the first RV. It comes from financing, extended warranties, and after-sales service. The RV is just the starting point of a revenue stream behind it. This creates an interesting structure. Step 1. The factory produces quickly, shipping according to output. Step 2. The dealer receives the goods and sells them as soon as possible. Step 3. If there is an issue, the car returns to the service workshop. Step 4. The buyer continues to make monthly payments. In the RV community, there is a saying that is repeated often. The customer is the final quality control department. Think about that. When an RV leaves the assembly line, who discovers the water leak after the first rain? Who is the one who notices the electrical system has an anomaly after a few trips? Not the factory, not a laboratory, but rather the buyer on their own vacation. According to community feedback, it is not uncommon for an RV to sit in the shop for 3-6 months in the first year. Imagine, you pay rent for a house for 12 months, but you only get to use it for 6-8 months. What does that feel like? From an economic perspective, risk is being redistributed. Instead of stopping the production line for more thorough inspections, which slows down revenue, the current model allows products to hit the market quickly and address issues later. This is not necessarily a conspiracy. This is the consequence of optimizing for speed and cash flow. But for the buyer, the consequence is very clear. You are both the customer and the real-world tester. The question arises, in a market where most revenue comes after the sale, who really bears the pressure to perfect the product from the start? Do you think that the financial model and warranty have inadvertently reduced the incentive for initial quality control? Or is this just a one-sided perspective? In the next section, we will discuss how buyers can turn the tables, from hiring independent inspections to the shakedown trip strategy to avoid becoming the one who bears all the risk. And if you find these analyses useful, you can follow the channel to continue with us in dissecting the models behind seemingly familiar products. If the production line is where the problem begins, then the warranty process is where time disappears. On paper, everything sounds very reassuring. A 1-year warranty from the manufacturer, a promise, a shield. But when it comes to reality, many RV owners describe that experience with another phrase, a time warp. From community feedback, some people wait 2-3 months just to get an initial inspection appointment. The car sits at the dealership for months, while the warranty continues to be counted according to schedule. In some cases, they had to spend up to $30,000 on repairs outside of warranty when the period had expired. Imagine, you buy a new apartment, discover a water leak in the first month, submit a repair request, and 3 months later, you finally get a response. During that time, you still pay your loan regularly every month. That is exactly how many RV owners feel. Where does the problem lie? When production increases rapidly, the number of cars needing maintenance also rises, but the number of technicians and service centers does not increase correspondingly. This creates a bottleneck. In operations management, this is called backlog pressure. Cars enter the shop faster than they are processed. And when hundreds of RVs line up waiting to be repaired, each one is no longer a dream of freedom. It becomes an item on the to-do list. A deeper mindset from user emotions. They are not just losing money, they lost their summer, lost the family trip, lost the planned vacation, because an RV is not like a household item. It is tied to the experience. When it sits in the workshop for 4-6 months in the first year, you don't just lose a product, you lose a part of your lifetime. In terms of the model, warranty should be a mechanism for customer protection. But when the service system is overloaded, warranty can become an endless loop, where responsibility shifts back and forth between the manufacturer, dealer, and parts supplier. What do you think? What does a warranty policy mean if the processing time exceeds the time you actually use the product? Have you ever experienced a situation where you had to wait for months for a warranty repair? Do you think the problem lies in the lack of manpower, processes, or the entire industry's structure? Now, let's talk about how many buyers are changing their strategies, from hiring independent inspectors to prioritizing used RVs instead of new ones. Amid a market that always promotes newer, better, more modern, a paradox is unfolding in the RV community. More and more people are saying, if I could go back, I would buy an old RV. It sounds counterintuitive, but when delving deeper into the data and real-world experiences, the story begins to become clearer. In large RV forums and groups, the phrase Golden Years 2004, 2008 appears repeatedly. Many owners believe that models produced before the recent surge in demand have more stable quality. Some even believe that RVs from the 2000s are still more durable than many new models. Why is that? Let's go back to the production context. Before the period of strong demand increase, the factories operated at a relatively stable capacity. When production is not ramped up too quickly, each stage has more time to refine and inspect. Then, demand skyrocketed. Orders skyrocketed. The production line must speed up. New workforce is being recruited quickly, and like all other manufacturing industries, when the speed exceeds the stable threshold, the consistency in quality may be affected. Old RVs were produced during a lower pressure phase. The new RV is produced in a higher pressure phase. But that's not the whole story yet. There is an important psychological factor. A 2-3-year-old RV has gone through a natural selection process. Initial assembly flaws, minor leaks, loose components, suboptimal electrical systems, if present, have usually been identified and addressed. In other words, that vehicle has been put to the test in real life. And there's also a financial factor. New RVs often depreciate significantly in the first 1-2 years, just like cars. This means that used car buyers not only avoid significant depreciation, but also have the opportunity to own a product that has been proven. This raises an interesting question. Does brand new still mean peace of mind? Or in the current context, is selectively used the smarter strategy? Of course, used RVs are not without risks, but the community is increasingly recognizing that the risk of new cars may lie in their initial instability, while used cars offer a higher level of transparency regarding their actual condition. Which group do you belong to? Prioritize the smell of a new car and warranty from the start, or choose one that has proven itself over time? In the next section, we will compile the entire picture, from industry structure, recall data, production lines to warranty models, to answer the biggest question: how to avoid becoming part of the 90% full of risks. If you are interested in this kind of in-depth analysis, you can follow the channel to continue dissecting the industries behind the advertising lights with us. After all the data, industry structure, and stories from the production line, the most important question is no longer who is at fault, but rather, what are you doing to protect yourself? In a market where speed is often prioritized over perfection, buyers' strategies must change. First, hire an independent inspector, the first line of defense. A thorough inspection lasting 6-10 hours costs around $300-$800. Sounds like a lot, but compared to a repair that could cost tens of thousands of dollars, it's like buying insurance for your own decision. An independent inspector works for you, not for the dealer. They inspect every joint, every seam, every electrical and plumbing system. They look at the RV like an engineer, not like a salesperson. If the dealer doesn't allow an independent inspection, that could be a signal you need to consider carefully. Second, shakedown trip. A trial run before going far. Instead of driving hundreds of kilometers for the first trip, camp close to home. The goal is not to relax. The goal is to detect faults while you are still within the warranty period. Think of it as a real-world stress test. Third, consider a 2-3-year-old RV. An RV that has been used for a few seasons is like a product that has been tested in real life. Initial defects, if any, have usually been addressed. At the same time, you avoid the most severe depreciation phase. Finally, remember, in a complex market, knowledge is the buyer's competitive advantage. Which strategy will you choose? Buy new with thorough inspection, or prioritize used cars? In the conclusion, we will summarize the entire picture and answer the question, can this industry change, or is it the new buyer who must adapt? After all that we have just analyzed, from the centralized market structure, data recovery, production line pressure to the warranty black hole, the picture that emerges is not simply good or bad. It is a system where speed, output, and cash flow are sometimes prioritized over perfection. And in that system, buyers can inadvertently become the final checkpoint. But that doesn't mean the RV dream has to end. It just means that the dream needs to be approached with data, not just with emotions. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced an extended warranty? Do you believe that a new RV is still the best choice, or is a used one a safer strategy? Please share your opinions and stories below. Practical discussions can help the next person avoid a costly decision. If you find these straightforward and data-driven analyses helpful, you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next investigative segments. And an important note, this video is analytical and synthesizes publicly available information, not intended to target any specific individual or business. Experiences may vary from case to case. Please do your own research and consult with experts before making any major financial decisions. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.